Hi. So today I'm going to talk about the fascinating topic of creating a book outline. Very, very fun. Um, I'm kidding, obviously, because a lot of people think that an outline is unnecessary or hard to write. But I'm here to tell you that, especially for nonfiction, you really need an outline in order to create the best book possible. So, we write self help and wellness books because we're trying to help people create effective change in their lives, which means that we need to make the books themselves effective. We need to reflect what we know about how humans read, how they integrate information, um, how they add change their lives with the information that we are offering them. And an outline is the best way to do that when we're creating a new self help book. It's really the first thing that you want to create when you're ready to start on your book project. You want to do it before you start writing. Um, and in fact, it will help you understand more about what you want to include in the book. So just yeah, so first thing you want to do. So first thing I want to show you is the difference between a table of contents and an outline. So I'm going to share my screen. Where did it go? Okay. So yeah. So okay, this is a table of contents. This is what you see in most books that you read that's printed in the front before the actual content of the book. So this is basically just the chapter titles, and it's every once in a while you'll see a table of contents that's more complex, what they call it annotated table of contents, where there's more information underneath the chapter titles, often the subheadings, but that's usually used for books, for academic books or books that are kind of high level professional books for, psychologists or medical doctors or something like that, where it's fairly high level um, kind of content. So, but in most books, it's just going to be the chapter titles, just exactly what it says, table of contents. And then I'm going to show you what an outline looks like. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so this is the outline that I wrote for a book I'm writing on how to write and publish an effective self-help book. You might have heard me talk about this occasionally. So as you can see, it is the chapter titles, but then it's also the subheadings. So it helps you understand what is actually going to go into the chapter. Um, and so what I did was I basically wrote down all the steps for how people can write, publish, market, and leverage a self-help book, and put them in order of the steps. Put them in order of how people are going to need to do them. And then, as you can see, I also included some basic information that is important for people to know if they're thinking about publishing self-help books. So why I recommend psychology, health, and wellness business owners write a self-help book, and all the reasons why. Then I talk about the most common issues I see in new author manuscripts, because in this case, I'm still basically trying to convince people that to 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 write a book and then write it well, do it right the first time. So what you want to do in an outline is you're taking your reader on a journey. You have a destination in mind. You have a way that they're going to change their lives for the better. Something is going to be different about their life when they finish up the book. So the first thing you really need to understand when you're creating an outline is what journey you want to take them on. You really want to understand exactly the steps that they're going to need to go on. you're going to you're going to have to you want to know exactly what information they need to know in order to create the change that you're teaching them about. So what I recommend is actually kind of reverse engineering an outline when you're first creating one. So you start with the outcome that you want the reader to have. You want the way what you want their lives to be like when they finish the book, when they work through it, when they implement all these changes. And then you kind of work backwards. So you figure out exactly what steps they need to take in order to get to that goal. And what, so you're taking them on a journey, and then you also have to really understand what information they need to understand in order to be able to go on that journey effectively. So, for example, if you're talking about, say you're writing a book on depression and using meditation techniques to cope with depression, you would start with the most basic information your reader needs to know to get the most out of the book. So in this case, you want to, as simple as, define what depression is, talk about what it looks like in people's lives, talk about the challenges that it brings into people's lives, and then you want to define meditation, and then you want to define even more so. So if you're using a specific type of meditation or a specific approach to meditation, or you want to talk about that, because you want the people that your reader needs to understand what those things are before they can move on into the book, in order for them to get the most out of the book. And so what I see sometimes is that an author will kind of forget to explain a basic concept, and it's really important that you make sure that your readers are on the same page as you as they're going through the book. So an outline really helps with that. An outline is basically, I kind of talk about it like a trail map, and the chapters are the trail markers. So they help, you know, there's a reason why we organize books with chapters and subheadings. It's because people integrate information more easily when it's in smaller chunks. So you wouldn't want to write a book where it's just all content, nothing breaking it up, no chapter titles, no subheadings, because that would be really hard for the reader to integrate. It would be just too much information. It's like pouring a giant tub of water on somebody. Like, it's too much, right? So what chapters are doing is they're separating information into smaller pieces so people can really integrate it, really understand what you're saying, so they can actually use the information. So what happens when you don't use an outline? I've seen this occasionally in all my years of editing books. What happens is, without an outline, without a plan for the book can be really messy, really disorganized. Information doesn't flow well, so the reader is confused, and they don't really know where you're taking them, and so it's going to be less effective as a book. It's not going to help the reader as much as one that's well planned out. The reader is less likely to actually finish the book because it's not enjoyable to read, because it's confusing and it's all over the place, and they don't really understand where you're taking them. So an outline is basically, you're the guide, you're taking them on this, and the outline is the path that you're taking them on. So, and you can use any number of metaphors, but it's really important to understand the reader journey and to plan your book out so that they always understand where they're going, where they've come from, because that's how they're gonna stick with it. So, and I know some people want to write more freely and and not use an outline, but I really recommend using an outline because it's otherwise you're kind of in some ways you're wasting your time writing a book. And you can write. I mean, I've seen some people do this sometimes where they just, because you can write your content and then you can take the relevant pieces and put them into the outline if you want, that's one way to do it. If you really don't want to use an outline, be confined with an outline. So, but I still recommend starting out with an outline before you even start writing, because it helps you write more quickly. It helps you know exactly what you're going to be writing about in this writing session. So you don't have to think about it. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to spend a lot of time wondering what you're writing or where is this piece of information going to go. You already have a plan, so you just fill in the information. So I'm writing my book here. Let's see, share the screen again. So when I write this book, so I'm still on chapter 1. I just finished it. So I just go through each thing. Okay, now I'm going to write about income. Now I'm going to write about supporting your credibility. Now I'm going to write about attracting new clients. It's just a lot easier than just kind of writing whatever, doing a brain dump and writing whatever comes up. And then, because if you do that, then you have a manuscript that's super messy. It's really hard to deal with. And I have spent, like, as a developmental editor, I often get manuscripts that where the person didn't plan them out. And it's really frustrating to edit them because you basically have to start over, but you have to basically tear apart the whole manuscript and put it back together. And that's really hard. And the manuscripts and the book's just not going to be as good because you're kind of cobbling it together when you could have planned it out in the first place, and the information would flow in an intuitive way. The reader would understand where you're taking them, and it would be much more effective as a self-help or wellness book. So that is why I really, really highly recommend creating an outline. So I have created a worksheet to help authors create an outline. So I will post that somewhere in the comments or something when I post this video. So if you have any other questions about an outline, creating an outline, using an outline, feel free to write a question in the comments, and I will do my best to answer it. You can also DM me if you have a more complex question. And again, just to remind everybody that I do help people with these issues. I'm a book coach. So if you are starting on your book writing and publishing journey and you want support, come chat with me. Let's get on a phone call and see how I can help. So have a great rest of your day. Bye.